give me some tips on how to pray. Okay, my man. So, for starters, I made a video talking about how Lucifer can hear your prayers and your thoughts, so you gotta be careful and make sure you're praying for needs in your life and not wants. And the reason why I'm saying that's because if you pray for a want and you think it's a need, Lucifer will actually show you this thing, like this gift, whatever, right? Whatever it is, and you're gonna think it's from God and you're gonna take it and it's going to wreck your world. So you gotta be careful. If you want me to make a video about the difference between a need and a want, just let me know, okay? Now, whenever you pray, have no side distractions. Whether it's noise, whether it's your phone, whatever it is, cut it out and just focus on God and God only. Secondly, right, make sure you believe in what you're praying in. Like, instead of you being like, God, I hope you can help me fix this, be like, God, I know you can fix this, God, because I know who you are. And lastly, okay, just make sure whenever you are praying, like I said, you know the difference between a need and a want. I'm saying this again because a lot of people pray for wants and their life gets ruined and they think it's God's fault, but the truth is it's your fault.
So I just woke up from a dream, and in my dream, sorry, my eyes are like, I can't see because it's light. In my dream, there was a sidewalk, and then there was a railing, and I noticed that I went up to the railing, and then two people ran over it and jumped over the railing. So I went in after them thinking I could save them. And when I jumped over, for some reason I was floating, I could fly. And so I flew down, only to realize that the two people were in hell. So I finally get down there, and they're talking to this man, and the man looks up at me and he goes, what are you doing down here? Go back where you came from. So I was trying to find a way back up, and eventually I started climbing the walls that I saw. And then whenever I eventually got up to the top, I realized that those two people were chasing after me. So when I finally got over the railing, I looked back at them and I held my hand out to see if I could grab them, only to find out that they couldn't reach back.
Guys, don't scroll. Before you go back and start listening to that same old music about drugs, about alcohol, about how bad you feel, I have music to where you can vibe out about God. You can vibe out about how good He is and where He's brought you through. Like me, He brought me from nothing. He brought me to a point where I had everything in the world, but I had nothing in my soul. I'm telling you, give my music a chance. We're gonna vibe out together. We got amazing vibes. L.U.G.0 on all platforms. Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. I'm telling you guys, we gotta stop listening to that old worldly music. It might sound good, but it's not uplifting your spirit.
But somewhere along the line, you changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame. Like a big shadow. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
Sophia, how do you know that God is real? How do I know that God is real? Now let me ask you this question. How do you know if the wind is real? You can't see the wind, can you? You can't see it, but you can feel it. You can't see it, but you can hear it. You can't see it, but you can see it moving other things. Now this is how I know that God is real. I can't see God, but I can hear His voice. I can't see God, but I can feel His holy presence. I can't see God, but I can see Him changing my heart, changing my life, moving through my life and moving through other people's lives. This is how I know that God is real. So let me ask you this. Are you willing to hear His voice? Are you willing to feel His presence? And are you willing for Him to move through you?
I'm just sick and tired of hearing people say, well, once I stop doing this, or once I start doing this, I'll get closer to God. Actually, what you need to stop doing is believing that you alone will ever be good enough to be made right with God. Because believe it or not, our very own flesh, no matter what we do, will inevitably bring us back or keep us in sin. The only way you are made right with God is through Jesus Christ. So you don't have to reach a certain point of holiness or a certain point of righteousness to get closer with God. Because we can't reach that point. It's impossible. And Jesus Christ knew that, which is why he came down and died for that very reason. Jesus Christ is the only mediator between creation and creator. So it's time to stop telling yourself that you have the power to live life without the source of it. Go to God as you are. I promise he will accept you.
God, I'm coming to you today just to say thank you. I get so caught up in the past, in my now, in my future, and what I believe should be mine that I forget to take in the blessings that you've already bestowed upon me. My prayers should never sound like a Christmas list, and I should never treat you like a genie. But even though I know that I'll always fall short, and for that I apologize. You are my foundation. Without you, I will inevitably crumble due to my own doing, Heavenly Father. So I thank you for blessing me with every breath I take, for I know it isn't promised. I thank you for all the lessons that will make me into the man I so long to be. And most importantly, I thank you for the pain. I thank you for the tears. I thank you for the nights of confusion, because those are the most important lessons of all. But Heavenly Father, I really want to thank you for protecting me from myself. From my suffocating thoughts to my energy-changing tongue, you've kept me from drowning in my own negativity.
God, help me to hate sin without hating myself. Help me to see myself the way you see me, because I promise I don't see what you see. I still have insecurity. The word is sharper than any double-edged sword, so I tell myself I'm the righteousness of God, but I sometimes struggle to believe it. My shame paralyzes me, but one moment in your presence changes everything, so Father, can I rest here at your feet? I don't want to leave, but you remind me in Exodus that even Moses had to come down from the mountain. But so long as I am breathing, I promise to keep walking with you, because better is one hard day with you than 1,000 comfortable days without.
God has never created anything without a purpose. Every plant has a purpose. Every star has a purpose. Every animal has a purpose. God does not create things without a reason, without a purpose. And if your heart is beating and you're breathing, there's a purpose for your life. Because God never makes anything without a purpose. And the very fact that you're alive makes your life meaningful, that God had a reason for creating you.
Welcome to Real Bible Facts with Real Talk Tyler. I'm your host today. Today we're going to be talking about how God used Moses to split the Red Sea. It says that Moses raised his hands and the Lord divided the waters into dry land. Now in Sunday school, we were always taught that it looks something like this. So the question is that really how it happened? Or did it even happen at all? Well, two explorers found this land bridge in the Red Sea. It's called the Jackson Reef Land Bridge, located at that tip right there. To show you proof, these explorers literally stood on that land bridge at a high tide. What's up, my man? This is another illustration of that reef. Matter of fact, it's only a couple miles away from this thing. That's right, this is the biblical Mount Sinai, where God descended on it in smoke and fire. Exodus 19:18, people, read it. If you still don't believe me, this is where the land bridge is, and this is where the mountain is. This had me shook. Congrats, now you know exactly where God split the Red Sea and helped the Israelites cross.